Welcome to the wonderful world of dodgy movies and TV. I am your host, movie and TV Mistress. So this week, I'm not actually going to review a werewolf film, though I really think I should have after reading up on this film. This film I'm reviewing is called The Ghoul. No, not that one. No, not that one either. Yep. 1975, The Ghoul, starring Peter Cushing and John Hurt. Yeah, who thought those two would be together? Two doctors. Who knew? This film is written by Anthony Hines and directed by Freddie Francis. The same year that this film came out, they also created a film together called Legend of the Werewolf. So perhaps I should have watched that. But no, I watched The Ghoul. This film stars Peter Cushing. And it's actually very tragic. It's quite tragic and quite sweet, and I feel for Peter Cushing's character in this. As you may be aware, I don't know, a lot of people are aware that Peter Cushing likes to hide a picture or have a picture of his wife on set ever since she died in 1971. And this film is about a man who has lost his wife. And the picture of the wife in the film is actually Peter Cushing's wife. So when it comes to a man talking about his feelings and about the loss of his wife, this film is very touching and tragic in regards to that. And I feel that Peter Cushing is being very open and honest. And there is some fact apparently that he was made to do the same take of him explaining his feelings about what happened to his wife over and over, and it got very emotional on set. And you can feel that when you watch this film.
Is this your wife, Mr.
Lawrence? Yes, it is.
She's beautiful. Shall I be meeting her?
My wife is dead.
I'm sorry. But when you said we, I assumed...
I always think of us as still being together. But I meant the Aya, my housekeeper.
Aya means nurse, doesn't it? Was she your little boy's nurse?
Yes, she was.
He's a very good-looking little boy. Is he as handsome now that he's grown up?
I've no idea.
Don't you see him?
No. No, I don't see him.
He's the main star, but there's this other storyline going on. So at the beginning of the movie, and excuse me, I believe it's set in like 1920s, 30s England, and there's a party going on, drunk aristocrats in their suits and girls in their flapper dresses, you know. Anyway, two drunk guys decide to make a bet that they can race each other in their brilliant race cars. By those days they probably were extremely fast, but you know, by today I wouldn't want to drive in those. They decide to do a race to Land's End. And so the girls go along to be their witnesses, because this is all being done in the middle of the night while everyone's drunk. Drunk driving. One couple pulls aside because the girl's going to be sick, so that stops them from going any further. The other girl is driving the car of the bloke because she's like, I want to win this race. And they end up nearly going over a cliff and end up in the moors, as you do. Well, not the moors, but like a boggy type moor area. And then, of course, it turns out they've run out of fuel. So she sends the bloke off to go get petrol. And in the meantime, John Hurt turns up.
I had to do it, miss. Stop you from going up there. It's them up there, you see, miss.
Them? But you told me there was no one up there.
Well, you see, I didn't want you to go there, miss.
Who is up there?
John Hurt, everyone. Creepy, creepy John Hurt. As a child, I found John Hurt very disturbing, mainly because of Alien, the Elephant Man, and just anything that he appeared in, he just came off as sinister and creepy. Even King Ralph, may I add. He was sinister and creepy in that too. But as I got older, I appreciate his skill as an actor and have enjoyed more looking back at his career. But yeah, this is a very young, very creepy John Hurt. He kidnaps her. Then she escapes and goes up to the big house, even though John Hurt's told her not to. And like I said last week, why will teenagers not listen to the crazy fuck or try and tell them and warn them about, don't go up to the cabin in the woods, don't go up to that really creepy big castle place or house. No one listens to the crazy people or the people that hold you hostage and kidnap you because, well, you are crazy and that's why they're not listening to you. If you want to be taken seriously, talk like a sane person and don't kidnap them. Common sense, people. So she goes up there to that lovely big house and meets Peter Cushing and his Indian servant. Or Nana. Anyway, so she's from India. But if you look at her, she's not really from India. This movie, if made today, would probably be seen as racist. And I say that specifically for the fact that it seems to mischaracterize certain elements of Indian culture. And I think it's misrepresenting kosher food. That's my thoughts. So, what do I mean? Oh, well, you know, in India, she's a vegetarian, so the Indian lady doesn't touch meat. Except for when she does, later on in the film. So, Peter Cushing tells his tragic story about his wife and his kid when he was a minister or missionary in India, and the hideous things that those people will do to their gods or for their gods, and how they, you know, destroyed his family and his wife. And so there's something going on, but you're not sure what. We then keep seeing him praying in his little chapel, but then we see his Indian servant lady praying to her weird Hindu god type thing. It's kind of like something from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It's kind of creepy. You know, she puts jewelry on it. I swear it looks like there's tongues probably hanging from it like Indiana Jones. You know, it's not good. So, when you're watching this, your first thought probably will be, oh, she's summoning the evil, whatever, Indian god to come do something for her, right? Yeah, that makes sense. She's summoning, right? Because that's what she's doing. But she keeps leaving a bowl outside a room in the attic. Now, this is the thing. This film is called The Ghoul here in the UK, but it's got other names in America, and one of them being The Thing in the Attic or something. Something about the creature or the thing in the attic, or the ghoul in the attic, I don't know. And I can see why they did that, because that's not an attic. That's just an upstairs room, people. Attic requires you to go through a roof space. That's a door in a hallway. So, young girl gets killed, guy comes back to the car, he gets killed by John Hurt, who pushes it off a cliff. You know, typical stuff. And then the other couple finally arrive, and then somebody gets killed. And then somebody gets killed. Pretty much everyone dies in this film. But the twist is that she's not summoning anybody, like an ancient god or anything, to come down and punish these teenagers and kill them. No. She's praying to her gods, but we don't know why she's doing that and then what happens next happens. But what happens is we find out this guy, Don Henderson, who I know as a simulant from Red Dwarf, is Peter Cushing's son, all grown up. And, well, he's a bit mental and likes human flesh and likes to kill it first. And even though the Indian lady is a vegetarian and doesn't touch meat, I'm assuming what's going on when she's doing her praying and he comes out and stabs people in the head and stuff is that this is their idea of what kosher is. I think that's what this film's about. It's about showing you how kosher meat is made. And that kosher meat is human meat. This movie makes no sense, but it's actually very well shot. It's well written, well acted, and as I said at the start, Peter Cushing plays this with pure truth and heart when he's talking about his family, and is devastated by what's happened and the fact he's kept this promise to keep his son alive, which means that every so often they allow him to kill somebody. And then he gets to eat the flesh. And they store the rest of the flesh in a barrel of salt. It's disturbing. In the same way that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was disturbing. Because it's not what you were expecting. As I said, when I was watching this, I'm like, okay, so she's praying and there's this weird statue and it's all very Indiana Jones and she's summoning or doing like Kalimar type stuff, you know, summoning the power of the gods or whatever to come and destroy these people that are interfering in their world. No. I am not entirely sure what she's doing, but she's protecting the child, and Peter Cushing's been protecting this poor child who's now an adult. And at the end of the movie, the only survivors, as far as I can tell, were John Hurt, Peter Cushing, and the Indian lady, because Peter Cushing finally gets up the courage to break his vow to his wife and kill their son. And it's beautiful and tragic, like I said. So it's not the best film in the world. And it's not the worst film. It's a different take on a story about how far you would go for your family. And done probably not that far before Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it's done in a simplistic British, not simplistic British, but a very stylized British refined way. Whereas Texas Chainsaw Massacre just goes, yeah, chainsaw! This one just goes, Indians. I'm not saying this film is racist, and I'm not saying that this film is portraying the Indian culture in this way. It is portraying an idea of what elements of Indian culture has been in the past. Because there are many cults and sects, as we've all been aware, where things have been done, people have been sacrificed. I mean, you go back throughout history, there are areas of South America where people sacrifice things, and the bloody cults and all this. So it's not completely incorrect. So if you get a chance, I highly recommend that you check out the 1975 film The Ghoul. I will at some point probably get to the 1933 The Ghoul and the more recent 2016 film The Ghoul. There are probably other films with Ghoul in the title, but those are the three that are actually referred to as The Ghoul. I have seen a film called The Incredible Melting Man, which is also called The Ghoul from Outer Space. And that is even more disturbing than this. This, as I said, is a beautiful film. It's beautifully shot, beautifully acted, and a bit ridiculous at points. But there's truth in there when it comes to some of the acting and some of the dialogue. And as I said, a simpler, cleaner, more British way of telling the story about a psychopathic family killer person. Anyway. He's not Leatherface. He's Indian Face? Anyway, remember what I always say, folks, there's a lot of dodgy films out there. And I'm watching loads of them just because I like to watch bad films, just like Elvira did. And hey, hit that subscribe button. And when you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell over there, because that will notify you when I upload. share, regardless of if you like the video or not. And if you like, give me a thumbs up or comment down below. Thumbs down as well if you want, or comment. Just comment down below. Comment on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or on my own website, movieandtvmistress.com. And I will be back next week with another review. Bye!